Hi there, howdy. So you want to draw ears? Well, let me help you with that. So basically first I'm going to teach you kind of how I like to construct my ear, just a basic ear. I like to first start with a little diagonal like this. I usually start with the top. While it is round, I like to make it a slight bit sharper. I'm switching between colors so you can see exactly what's going on, but not too much sharper. Make it so it's still round, of course. This is going to be a big round area right here. This roundness is, if you think about it as a circle, it has a triangle on top. That might help you a little bit, but it's not really a triangle. It's more of a semicircle kind of thing. Anyway, so once you have this line right here done, and you have that roundness, you're going to kind of want to almost curve it back out. Just like that. And then with this final line, I like to curve this back in to where it'll kind of connect almost like horizontally like that. And that's the basic outline for the thing. We can think about it as two big circles really. So like one right here and one right here. So if you really feel comfortable, you could probably just draw the circles first. And then you could try drawing the basic ear over it. Just following those circles. Just like that. Now for the inside, I feel like not everyone draws these the same, but I'm going to show you how I draw. So we're going to come in here. We're going to kind of do one diagonal line, almost parallel to this line. Switching colors. Then we're kind of going to go back in here with another diagonal line. Make this basically a triangle, maybe a little less sharp, kind of like what we did up here. And then finally, we're going to actually make another little triangle, just right here. I keep saying triangle, but they're more semicircles than anything. Now I'm going to erase some fluff real quick. Now for the other parts of the ear. For this part, we're going to kind of, just like how we did with these circles right here, they're going to kind of be in two separate sections, kind of stemming from this area right here. I'm not going to start there, but I like to start at the top, kind of following the contour of this ear. Following the outline of this ear. And circling all the way back in. And we have our kind of upper chamber up there. And I usually like to add a little bit of detail, kind of like a swirl coming out here. Maybe shade it in if you're feeling fancy. And then we're going to do the other chamber, and we're going to kind of just follow the same outline and kind of swirl it back into where this ends right here. And that's our bottom chamber basically done. We're going to do a kind of similar thing right here. I like to kind of section off a whole section right here. And shade it in if you're feeling fancy. And that's the basic process I follow for an ear, but I'm going to show you a few more things. I'm going to show you how to draw it on a head. I'm going to show you how to draw kind of human hybrid ears, I guess. Elves and anime cat girls, if that's your thing. No judgment here, my friend. No judgment at all. Let me draw those heads for you real quick, though. Alright, now that we have our heads, I'm going to show you how to draw these different kind of angles, almost. So with this straight looking on head, we're going to kind of just make it almost like we did up here. This is more of, I'd say this is more of this one. So we're going to kind of draw it a little bit skinnier, I suppose, like right here. It's going to come inwards. Just to get that illusion of, I don't know, 3D-ness. I do not know terminology, if that helps you at all. So we're going to kind of just draw what we did up there. Doing the exact same thing, just on a different little, on an actual head, is what I'm trying to say. Just like so. So those kind of just come inwards, and these are going to come a little bit more outwards. Now the real tricky part is when we get to this, but that's in a second, so let's just continue on this for now. And do keep in mind, we're also going to go over this later. Do not worry, my friend. Calm down, calm down. Do keep in mind that where they're looking up, down, all around. that's always going to change the shape of the ear and where it's placed. For now, I just kind of like to put it right here. Although if you do need help with ear placement, then the skull kind of follows this line, but roughly right here in the 3/4 angle, it kind of goes flat, just roughly right here. So if we just imagine this flat, and then kind of pick out the center, we can start the ear from there. So we're going to draw this basically exactly how we did up here. So let me erase some fluff so you can see both examples real quick. Now this one is a bit different because at this angle you're actually not going to see this shape. You're actually going to see it from the side, which if you look at an ear from the side, it looks a lot different. In fact, basically take the same shapes that we did before and just kind of remember them and bring them over here. We can kind of try to imagine ears kind of like cave in, right? Because that's where the sound goes into your brain hole, and we're just gonna kind of follow the thickness, basically. But ears do cave in, and we're gonna add kind of like a just like this. It's a whole thickness thing, really. So basically, this part is a bit more thicker. This part right here is a bit more thicker than the bottom part, because that's where your little lobe is. That's where your little lobe dangles from all the time. And back here, we're gonna add a little chamber for where the sound goes into, because that is actually present if you do have a reference photo nearby to look in near. So it's gonna kind of be this shape right here. We can make this straighter if we want. I'm just kind of using this as an example. I'm gonna draw that right here. Gonna kind of be the same size as the other ones. Although right here, this is actually not the most lined up, because remember, it kind of connects at the jawline, but I like to push it a little forward because it kind of connects right here and then goes into this back area right there. So now we're going to move on to the vertical views. So basically, the thing I want to teach here and the thing I really want to hit home here is that as you look up, right, your ears are going to go down in said perspective. And as you look down, as you look down, your ears are going to go up. So while we keep that in mind, we're going to actually sketch out the ears just like that. And since it's, straight on perspective, mostly, it's just going to be a lot more angled down. So right here, we're going to start kind of where that line comes into contact with the edge of the head. And we're just going to draw it just like this. Using the same method from before. We're going to do this side as well, using the same method with the coming in contact. This one I actually want to push up a little bit more. So we're just going to draw it all the way up here. And it really kind of forces that perspective of, they're looking down, or they're looking up. Using the same method. So just remember, up equals down and down equals up when it comes to ears and the whole eyebrow ridge line thing. And it becomes a lot easier to draw them in perspective, at least. Now, the next thing I want to touch on, and we're actually going to have to erase or something these heads, will be different kinds of ears. So maybe you're an aspiring fantasy artist and you want to draw some elf ears instead. So it's going to follow the same steps as our regular tutorial, it's just going to be a lot more drawn out. So our first line is going to be all the way out here, a lot more curve, a bigger, acuter angle. And we're going to start our first curve in. And it's going to be a lot closer together, I suppose. And then we're going to do our curve out, just like earlier. And that one's going to end actually shorter. And then kind of just go right back into it. Now for the inside of this one's actually going to be interesting. This basically kind of goes the whole way almost. And then we just kind of follow the outline here. Oh, whoops. Curve it back in. And then another circle. And we're almost there. You can see it coming together very easily. Now, we're just going to follow the same exact thing. This is actually going to be a sharper, almost triangular shape up here. But we're going to follow the contour just like we did on the original to make these good old elf ears. Follow it once more. Lower chamber. And there we have an elf ear. The last one I'm going to show is the animal ears. So for these ones are a lot more interesting because I think it almost requires less lines, in my opinion. What I would say to do is start with a triangle and kind of try to place in perspective how you want this triangle to be the opening for the cat ears. So say this is our cat ear opening. We can actually just start making our line upwards. Remember the volume of the shape. And this will be like our first line over here. Now the next one, I think we're just going to follow the triangle again. Try to put a little curve on it. I think a little curve will help it pop out a little bit more, have more volume. So we're just going to follow the contour of our triangle once more. Just like that. And we can almost do this, the same exact line almost, right up here as well. I'd say break it up into two separate lines. I'd say roughly where this comes out here, we can start putting that chamber in as well. Because in this perspective, you would definitely see the chamber. I feel like the chamber on the animal type of ears are a lot larger. I like to curve them out a little bit more and then curve them back in and then out again. Because I feel it kind of gives a better feel to it. But honestly, scratch that. I think you're better off maybe starting at the top. I think the top might look a lot better if you start there. I haven't drawn these in a while, forgive me. Now, right in here, we're gonna add the little puffs. I'd say just get a circle in there, and then we can just start adding a bunch of hair going everywhere. And let's get rid of a bit of fluff. And you can really see the whole ear shape coming in together. Now to draw these on human person, I'm just going to use this quick example right here. These ears are not placed right here normally. We're going to kind of follow there's a curve of the head up here. We're going to follow that curve. Roughly right here, if you can see that green, is where the ears might be placed. So we're going to draw our triangle once more. Of course, trying to make them equal sizes. And if you need to help equal the sizes, you can always draw a little curve beforehand. But I did not, so I'm going to get rid of that curve. And we're just going to start drawing just like how we did over there. I'm actually reversing the colors here, so it might be a bit confusing. Just like how we did. And if you really want to, you can actually kind of give it a texture. Might make it look even better than without. And naturally, right here is where hair would cover up that specific area. But in our example here, they're kind of bald, so unfortunately, we will not have hair to cover any misgrievings about this. Just like how we did. And that fur is a bit too much, so we're just gonna back that up a little bit. And as you can see, it overall comes out pretty nice. But that is the basic premise of that ear shape. So that is my simple and somewhat straightforward guide on drawing ears, elf ears, and animal ears. Of course, both animal and elf ears will change with perspective, but as long as you kind of understood those other perspective points, I believe you can also put it together with very little issue. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and I hope it helped you out a ton. I truly do. If it did help you, let me know down below, because I'm still pretty new to tutorials, and I don't know if I'm doing a good job or not. And if you need more tutorials, there are always a few more on my channel that you'll be able to find. So, until then, see you later!